armies draw near, and to my prayer incline, in arts gymnastic and in fraud divine.
Dire weapon of the tongue which men revere, be present, Hermes, and thyself plant here.
Welcome to Third Eye Bind, episode 51, Empathy. How's it going?
I am constantly vacillating between deep, dark depression and toxic positivity.
I get that. Except my toxic positivity is bypassing everything that's going on.
Everything's fine.
It's
I'm fine.
It's fine. Hi, I'm Laura for now. More on that later.
And I'm still Caitlin.
And welcome to Third
Third
Eye
Eye Bind.
We're back.
We're back with season 6.
Season 6.
And we're so happy to be here.
We're so happy. I'm so happy to be alive.
I'm happy to be alive too.
Because yes, that
Mhm.
deep dark depression made me think I didn't want to be sometimes.
Absolutely.
It went there. Thanks,
Yeah.
winter.
Thanks, winter.
Thanks, sads. Pathetic. Sads is the most pathetic thing that I can
It's
admit
exhausting.
that affects me.
Yeah.
I was talking to my therapist about sad
Mm-hmm.
because I started seeing my therapist again.
Good.
Shout out to Peggy in Texas.
Thank you, Peggy.
And I was like, do I have sads or am I just dumb? Because I live in LA, so I'm like, I have the most sun theoretically.
But it's not enough sun during the winter.
It's not, especially if you're used to having a lot of sun. Also, the angle
Oh.
of the sun is different, and that's what gets you. She told me.
Oh, I didn't know that.
It's science.
It is so depressing though. Like when you, it's like dark at 4, 5 o'clock. Now it's starting to
Yes.
stay light a little bit
And
longer,
I feel better.
and I'm feeling better
Like
too.
much better.
Literally, like the solstice hit and days started
Yeah.
to get longer, and I was like, I could keep living.
I was like, I guess I could do this a little bit longer.
I could do
I
life.
can still be alive. But it's been a lot of sweatpants, repetitive outfits. I bought a new bathrobe.
Cute. Yeah.
You know, it's been hard.
Yeah.
So
Feel you.
to be here talking and actually recording again is like wild to me. Like in my head, I'm like, am I actually doing this right now? I can't believe I put on makeup and like
I know, huh?
got up,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Yeah.
Your hair looks great, by the way.
Thank you. I got my first real haircut this fall.
It's so good. And
Thank
it was
you.
after we had stopped recording
I
and I kept being
know.
like, your hair, it needs to be on TV.
I know. I
It still
was
looks good.
deep in my depression and was ready to cut my own hair, and my mom called and was like, put the scissors down.
Mhm.
Like, immediately, no. If I pay for your hair appointment, will you go? And I was like,
Aw.
thank you, Mom. And so I went and got my hair cut. And then I went back again a couple weeks ago for a trim. And when I went to pay, my stylist was like, let's do business. Like, I want a reading.
Yeah.
So more of the barter system, please.
There's been some tit for tat action on my
Mhm.
end too.
I
I'm
like
into
it.
it.
It's fun.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I like that.
Me too.
I love that. We're all helping each other and actually
Yeah.
giving effort and caring. And gosh, what could we talk about today that could possibly have to do with that?
Well, I'm so glad you asked because today's topic is
Empathy. A much needed conversation
A
for all of
much-needed
us.
conversation. And before I even introduce my thought, I'm going to grab the deck.
Let's just do that first.
Deck first.
Oh, wait. Before we start,
Oh,
we were like, excuse me.
Rusty.
Please, if you would like to support the podcast, which is a completely independently run podcast, please pause. We'll wait.
Pause.
We'll wait for you. Pause and please like, comment, share, subscribe,
Rate
review,
us. Yeah.
rate us 5 stars preferably. We do very much appreciate being here and being well enough to do this, and your continued support also makes that happen. We also have merch down below in the carousel if you'd like to check that out.
It's real cute.
It's pretty cute. And yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Now that that's out of the
Now
way.
we got that out of the way.
Oh wait, if you really want to,
Oh, yeah, wait,
support
just
us,
kidding, just
I
kidding.
forgot the spiel. If you really, really like us, you can support us on patreon.com/thirdeye-bind or Third Eye Bind Pod. I forget, but you'll find us.
It's one of those.
And there's a link somewhere, so you can do that, and you can get a sticker pack. And for as little as like $1 a month, I believe, or $5, you can help keep our literal lights on and Mike, our producer, happy.
Yes, please. Mike does all the hard work.
It helps.
We just show up in the cute
pay
outfits.
him for his services. So
Mike's literally a professional who is sought out for this type of work.
no, literally, like that's why it looks so good. It's because of Mike Rob, my husband.
Literally has like an IMDb.
No, he's like a legit human being. Like he has a YouTube award. Okay.
Yeah. We're just out here.
We need to have him on the podcast.
We should have an episode with Mike. That'd be kind of fun.
Yeah, about something we'll think of.
Okay.
Oh, we should have it on skepticism.
Oh.
Because he's a little skepti-skept. That's a good one.
That's a good one.
Let's have him on.
Okay.
Oh, I like
We're adding
this.
that to the list.
I like this. Okay.
Wouldn't that be fun? Mike is our guest.
Yes.
I'm dead. I already love it.
I love it. Okay, next season we'll do it because this season is stacked
This season
to the
is
max.
stacked. We've already got our guests locked in,
we do.
which
My
I'm not going
God.
to tell you about. You're just going to have
Our
to stay
finale
tuned.
is so. We got an amazing guest this season. And
we are here. We are here to entertain.
Yes. So, anyways,
Excite you.
back to the episode.
What are we here for?
Empathy. We're here
All right.
to talk about empathy.
Hi, little deck. It's been a while.
I know.
Ooh, that's it. Okay.
Pulling from my Sirens of Song tarot deck in lavender holographic black.
edition. First upright. Okay. Oh.
Hmm.
Yeah. Okay. I actually don't know this. Is this Billie
It's Billie Eilish. yeah.
Eilish? But I like the lyric a
Ooh.
lot. So I pulled the
I
page
love
of
that song.
Swords. And the Page of Swords is the moment when we recognize there's something important that we have to say, something important we need to communicate, or perhaps something important we need to listen to and learn from. And we don't quite know how to do it yet. We're still figuring it out how it all works. But we are putting in the effort and trying our best to show up however it is that we can.
Yeah.
And I think for empathy, that's a really beautiful card because I think so many of us, especially right now, like we are on day 148
Yeah.
of the Palestinian genocide in Gaza.
Do we need to use codes? Pause. So we don't get flagged?
Can you beep it?
Oh, yeah.
Ribbit the
Sorry.
word I said it twice.
Yes, we can frog code it, I guess. Yeah.
But we are on day
Yeah.
148 of
Mhm.
the atrocities being committed towards Palestinians in Gaza.
Mhm.
And I think so many of us feel empathy, but struggle with how to put that empathy into action, or we feel paralyzed by our empathy because there are so many emotions in witnessing this type of devastating historical event live on our phones
Yeah.
every single day. And the Page of Swords is here to encourage us to take whatever steps we can, to do our best rather than to do nothing at all.
Yeah.
And I think
The lyrics, too, really
the
speak
lyrics,
to that.
yes, thank you for reminding me because I like the lyrics. Because everybody wants something from me now, and I don't want to let them down. And at the end of the day, our empathy plus action is
Helpful.
compassion. our empathy plus action is compassion. And it's not about
Yeah.
other people's expectations in our social circles or our families. It's about what feels right and true to you and leaning into that. It's not about what everybody wants from you. It's like, well, what do you want from yourself?
Mm-hmm.
How do you see yourself in this world? And
Yeah.
how can that fuel the way that you show up in the world
Yeah.
each day?
Yeah. How do you being true to yourself and listening to that voice that's like, I should care. I care. And not letting propaganda rhetoric get to you, because that's empathy is powerful because it allows change to happen. It allows people to take action. It's the catalyst for a lot of things that need to happen to happen. And powers that be will do anything to suppress that
Mm.
if it suits their agenda, because their agenda is not empathy, it's money, it's power, it's politics, which is at the core of what this whole thing is. And it's hard to sift through all that information, and but at the core of what's going on, like, it's awful what's happening, and nothing political justifies it for me, and it's just, like, so obviously terrible, um, that it you should care about these things because we're desensitized,
We are.
and especially for witches and people that
Mm.
are magical spiritual practitioners. That's what I struggle with understanding, how magical people don't seem to care, or that don't have empathy for other people. I don't understand how that works when you call yourself a witch or a magical practitioner, someone that is historically the other.
Mm.
Is We've talked about this many times, historically suppressed in different ways, still suppressed in different ways, and to allow, like, the I'm guessing it has to do with bypassing things and love and light and that kind of, like, vibrational bullshit that we address, but, like, it boggles. I don't understand that part of it. Really gets to me and kind of pisses me off about
I
what's happening.
I feel like it's people don't want to lose sales.
And look, I get that, but it's not
But
even, like, people that are selling things. Well,
oh,
it's not even people that are selling things, it's, like, people that, are just influencer witches or
yeah,
whatever, and I guess it's the same, you don't wanna lose
losing
your audience, I get
followers.
that,
Yeah,
but there's,
doesn't make it right.
like you said, like, there's different ways to address it, and,
Hmm.
like, at what point is it, like, you have to
Hmm.
say something or do something,
Hmm.
or, you don't have to dedicate your entire existence to it, but, like,
Yeah, you don't need to become like a news outlet.
no, and so because people are doing that, and that's
Hmm.
great, and let's draw attention to those people, and, like,
Exactly.
everyone has a different capacity, right? But
Hmm.
it's like, I don't know.
I
I don't know. I don't
s-
like to judge people
right,
because
because we're
Gemini,
empathetic.
it's hard because we're empathetic, and I don't like to point fingers, but in general, not even
Hmm.
just about what's going on right now.
Yeah.
Like, in general, I've met people not having to do with this situation that are just, like, shitty people
Hmm.
that are also, like, racist people that
Hmm.
are witches and things like we've talked about, and
Yeah.
it's just, like, it's very odd to me, the juxtaposition to where it's like, "What? Like, how?" You know? Can't just collect crystals and be like, "Well, I love my crystals." Like, you need to love people.
I think we saw a lot of this in 2020 as well, with
Yeah.
the rise
The
of social justice movements
Oh, yeah.
and like George Floyd
Yes.
and Breonna Taylor.
Yes.
And we saw this like reckoning moment where people really showed who they were
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
were unable or unwilling to express empathy. And it's like, how can you hold space spiritually and not at least
Acknowledge.
acknowledge what's going on? It's weird to me. But I also try to think, like, okay, maybe not everybody who's not saying something aren't refraining from taking action.
Right. No,
Like
it's
maybe
yeah.
they're working behind the scenes.
Mhm.
Maybe they're showing up at protests. Maybe they're
Yeah.
showing up here and there.
Yeah.
And
It's true.
um, I think that for me personally, though, like I have a hard time staying in community with people who have said like nothing
Yeah.
at all, but still charge for like readings and healings and stuff like that. Like
Yeah.
I personally don't understand it. And I have
Yeah.
to like distance myself from it just to kind of protect my mental health,
Yeah.
I think. Because then I start to get in the spiral of like,
Yeah.
do you
Like, do you
like,
know?
do
Do you
you care?
care?
You care? Like, I care
Yeah.
about,
It's a slippery slope because then we start to then judge
because then we're
people.
judging people. Right.
We can judge people. It's okay, but like
We're Geminis. We
it's
judge people.
we do, but we also can see the other side of things
Hmm.
and I mean,
Yeah.
but it's so I get people that are just like, "No, F these people," like that. I get people like that
Hmm.
because what's going on, it's we need to scream it from the rooftops. But because things are happening, like it's not over
Hmm.
and but progress has been made and like there's a lot of, movement. The movement wasn't there before and it's just opening up a lot of things.
And I think a lot of people who weren't originally aware are
Yeah.
starting to become
I think it
aware.
takes
And
time for people to open up their hearts and
yeah.
or to feel and
Or to even
understand,
know
to
what's
even
going
know,
on,
like,
right? Like, we don't learn things
colonize
like this at school.
places. No, like, to,
Yeah.
even understand, like, the scope of how colonization affects everybody in all these
Mhm.
different places and, like, learning about the history. I went into a deep dive of, like, the history of Palestine and the state of Israel, and, like, it's very interesting when you start to and, people can't do that overnight, so I
Yeah.
tend to give people the benefit of the doubt, but it is when you're making your own personal decision on,
Mhm.
like, where to spend your money, where that's your choice,
Mhm.
and that's fine. It's just
That's kind of like that Page of Swords energy that invites us to learn, because once you know more,
yeah,
once you know better, you can do
yeah,
better.
and it's not too
And
late to do
it's
that.
never too late to learn. We are always
Mhm.
learning, hopefully.
Yeah,
And it is from putting in that effort that I think empathy can
yeah,
come to exist for a
yeah,
lot of folks.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
do you want to hear some chisme?
yeah.
Okay, I literally, this just came up. This is like extremely hot tea.
Ooh, wish I had hot
Fresh
tea in
off
that
the
cup.
stove. I was sitting here looking at
Oh,
Instagram
right now? Oh,
right
this is, like,
now.
fresh tea.
Fresh. I mean, by the
Ooh,
time this airs,
it's
it'll only
boiling.
be a week from now.
Wait, what? Okay.
Okay. So Laura and Mike have a new puppy who didn't want to go inside, so they were busy outside
Okay,
trying to
yes,
corral
it's
their new
a
baby.
she's feral.
She's so cute.
She's very cute.
She doesn't know if she likes me yet, but we'll get there.
She does, didn't like anybody.
But I'm like sitting here scrolling, and this is all, of course, alleged. But there's this very large spiritual gathering that started, I want to say, around 2016. And it's very like woman centric, but it's had its problems in the past. People have talked about it in the past, but it's kept going. I've always been suspicious of it because I've never felt fully comfortable with the woman who's in charge.
Mm,
But this particular gathering that profits off of people of color and their ancestral spiritual practices coming to like share their wisdom with
okay.
the festival community, um, and charges like wild amounts of money for people to come attend, uh,
Hmm,
was recently called out by some of their practitioners for not saying anything about Palestine. And when the practitioners brought it up, they updated their terms on their website saying that, like, if you agree to work with us, you cannot write any articles, make any posts, speak about us in public in any way, or you'll be subject to a $25,000 fine.
That's sus.
Allegedly, but it's on
Oh,
their website.
that's allegedly sus. What?
Like,
Okay. That's
uh,
controlling,
that's cultish.
and that's
I always thought it seemed
cultish.
like a cult.
If it smells like a cult, if it looks like a cult, it's a fucking
like quack
cult.
quack, bitch.
Quack, quack. That was goofy.
I liked it.
We're doing a cluck, cluck. It's an angry cluck. Oh, we're chickens.
Click, click. Oh, wait, it's on
That's
this
on the
arm.
side. Cluck, cluck, bitch. It's a cult.
It's a cult. But, like, it's kind of comes I forgot why I started on this.
I don't
Oh,
know, I
because we
liked
were
it.
talking about how it's a struggle to
Oh,
understand, like, when
yeah.
people who are leaders, who have come into leadership positions in the spiritual and magical community,
Yeah.
do not show empathy or even acknowledgement to harm that is happening in real time. That's why it came up.
Even when they have, decolonization buzzwords in
Yes.
their bios and
Yes.
things and have written books
Mhm.
about it, and
Mm. Yes.
it's weird. I mean,
It's a weird time.
we all have a different capacity.
Yes.
I couldn't get out of bed half the time the past few months, so I understand. I understand that. And I respect my friends and colleagues who don't give a F and are like, no, calling out people. I respect that too.
Mhm.
And I also, yeah, that's cool with me. And, but you can do things, this having to do with anything, like we're all sort of, at least I feel like we're all like, whoa, colonization, whoa, Congo, whoa, like Yemen,
Mhm.
like all these different things that are going on now are getting
Mhm.
attention that get attention.
Yeah.
And it's like the people are reeling and sort of like it's an awakening of
Mm.
sorts. And
Very Pluto and Aquarius.
it's very Pluto and Aquarius. Did that happen today or yesterday?
Mm.
Oh,
Is
yeah.
it today the 20th?
I don't know.
It's officially today, yeah.
I don't know time anymore.
Days, I'm just baby.
No, I'm a baby. I don't know. Yeah, it's the 20th. So, but you can do things like, supporting people that are activists and doing the work and
Totes.
doing, you can amplify those voices and it's
Mhm.
very doable. And yeah, I don't know. I
It's
don't
weird.
really care about posting about it because it's messed up. And
Yeah.
no, it's not all over my feed because, yeah, I do still need to make money pretty
Mhm.
desperately or else I will not be able to pay my bills.
Mhm.
I get that, I do. But I'm also gonna do it actually, by the time this airs, I have a pin that will be like, I'll be donating money to a thing. So, like, there's ways to do this that's not I don't know, you just have to figure out what you can do.
Yes,
Really,
absolutely.
it's complicated,
That
but
reminds me of two things. The first one is Corinna Rosella of formerly of Rise Up Good Witch. Now it's Milk Thistle in Yucca Valley or online. Just posted something on their IG and their Instagram about how, like, there's this weird dichotomy of being like a spiritual or witchy person, and you're like, call to action, bring attention to this. And then you're like, also, please buy my products
yeah,
and services. And they're
yeah,
like, it's weird because you feel like you're being perceived as disingenuous, but you're not disingenuous. It's like, this
no,
is just the reality of existing
yeah.
under capitalism.
You can't just not
You
I
can't just
can't
not.
stop participating
Exactly.
or I will not be able to feed my
It
family.
literally, I won't be able to feed my family if I don't keep
Yeah,
promoting
yeah,
my stuff.
yeah.
And that's not
There's nothing wrong with
a
that
lack of
to me.
empathy. Like, it's just
No.
gonna be some chaotic good,
It's
I
just very
hope,
it's very,
happening.
like, post about Palestine. Look at this cute pin. But and yes, that can be and if that's perceived like that, then I mean, I can't do
What am I
anything
gonna
about it.
do?
This is my job,
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, it's okay.
We're all just doing
we're
our
all just doing our
best.
best, and
Mhm.
people out there are doing some real like important work with this, and
Mhm.
you know, even if it's just in your stories, like amplifying
Yeah.
call to actions are wonderful if you're looking for a way to just do something,
Yeah. Kiki of Opulent Witch posted something recently about how like there are so many different roles
Yeah.
within revolution. And not everyone is going to be like a
Mm,
boots on the ground
mhm.
activist showing up at marches. Some people are going to be facilitating support through their spiritual practices.
Yeah.
Some people are, artists.
Mhm.
Artists are such an
Graphics
important part of the
to catch
revolution.
attention to then
Exactly.
yeah.
Some people are educators. Like some people are. There's so many different ways that you can help activate people and be a part of put your empathy into action. There's
Talking to
so many
people
different
that you
ways.
know about it. Like
Mhm.
I had some friends say some wild stuff to me, and I was like, "Where did you hear that?" "What?" I won't tell you it.
I'll ask you after the show.
It's really bad, and I was like, "No." And then I had to sort of like
Immediately
it
no.
was whew, it's frightening. So, like, even just sort of educating people that
Mhm.
you know, because then it snowballs, like, little acts do matter and snowball
Yes.
into empathy,
Yes.
you know?
Like calling your elected officials and being annoying and doing that as many days a week as you
Yeah,
can. Like that's something that I've been doing a lot of, even though it feels some days hopeless. It's like,
yeah,
well, bitch, what else can you do right now?
yeah,
Um, but okay, in doing that, my oldest was like, I want to do that too.
mhm.
And there were some days when they were home from school and they were able to sit and make phone calls too. Like I got them set up on their
Aw,
computer. I showed them how you look up your representatives. They have a little cell phone, so they were calling from their phone.
yeah,
They wrote a little script for themselves.
yeah,
And I was like, oh, like parenting is also part of my role in
mhm. Yeah,
revolution. Like
mhm.
raising kids who have the tools to know how to even contact because that's something I had to teach myself, like how to
Yeah,
contact your elected officials. You can do
yeah,
that.
yeah,
But that they know they can do that and are able to, and also that they have the empathy to see when something is not right
yeah. I
and to
mean,
want to do something about it, whatever they can.
there's a lot of layers to the situation,
Hmm.
obviously, but, like, at the core of it, like, it's not okay what's happening. It's not. And I just it's a big issue. It's a big thing, and it's just, like, a lot. It's a lot to unpack for people that have ties to that state, and,
Hmm.
just it's a lot, and that's but at the core of it, like, your humanity is important, you know? Empathy is important because you understand other people, and if you're a witch or a spiritual practitioner, understanding how the fuck are you gonna understand the spirit world if you can't understand your fellow man or
Mm.
woman or person? Like, how are you going to grapple with some people claim to, they're like the reincarnation of Jesus or whatever, but they won't. It's just so weird, but they have like racist views. Like, I don't
Like,
understand.
how did you get
Like,
there?
the spiritual world is not your connection to the spirit world requires humanity, I think.
Mm.
Like the spiritual world is not void of it. It's not like some alien, well, some people it is, but it's not some alien like land. Like it's a part of us, right? Like, so how do you claim to connect to other beings and spirit guides and shit when you can't even like empathize with people that are
People who are
being
right in front of you.
unalived
Yeah.
in mass numbers? Like
Yeah.
it's at that I just don't quite understand.
Mhm.
And I wouldn't trust somebody that didn't at least try.
Yeah.
in any situation where this comes up
Mhm.
I just don't, there's just a lot of that. There's a lot of it. And yeah, it really makes you think about who's authentic and who's not, and who's genuine, and if you're genuine, you're being genuine, and if you're not, like, it brings up a lot of things that need to be talked about, which is why we do this podcast,
Mhm.
because it's wild. Like, I
Mhm.
had a minute where I was like, do I even want to be a witch anymore?
Mm.
I still am, but like, do I want to participate in this?
Mm.
I don't really I've had moments where I'm like, I don't want to participate in this spiritual community because it's so toxic.
Mhm.
It's becoming super toxic. And
Mhm.
I mean, I'm a part of the commodization of witchcraft. I make fun pins, but like, and I like doing that. This is why I don't offer services and
It's your
things, because
art.
I can't get into that. And
Yeah.
it's hard to like, which is why people love you, because you're very upfront. You're tied to, like you posted the
Mhm.
other day, you're like, I can tell you who my teachers are. I can tell you exactly, transparently, like how I taught myself, how I've learned from others, like what my dogma is for myself. Like, people aren't rooted, and this is what we talk about, like rooted culturally. What are you rooted in?
Mhm.
You know, if you're gonna claim XYZ, like what are you actually rooted
Yes.
in? Tell me specifics. Like, and that's
Mhm.
what people are asking of people. Where is your empathy? Like, what are you rooted in? Like, what is this really about? And I think that is important to sort of let people know, if you're a brand or people are like, it's irrelevant, I'm just trying to sell things. Like,
But it's
yes,
relevant to
but if
me
it's relevant, it's relevant to
as
me
a
to yeah,
consumer.
as a person,
Yes.
it's relevant.
Mhm.
It's fair enough. If something like this is going on, like, you have to address it either way, either if it's the
Yes.
opposite opinion,
Mhm.
like, okay, if you're a Zionist, like, okay, but like,
10 toes in, I
I
guess.
guess, like, but if I just don't, it unravels so many things, and
Mhm.
like, it's connected to how I feel about this witch community and
Mm.
spiritual community. It's just, I don't know. It's weird.
It's interesting you brought this up. This is actually part of the conversation I was having with those folks at if you haven't checked them out and you're in Los Angeles, go to El Sereno Greengrocer
They have really
on
good
Huntington
cookies.
Drive. They are the best. Queer owned,
Oh,
Chicana
nice.
owned business.
Yes.
Go there. But it's also like a community space. And part of the thing we were talking about
Ugh.
as I was sharing about our podcast is so much of our work comes from these ideas that come from a lack of rooting in people,
Yeah.
land, identity,
Yeah.
culture.
It really does.
Uh-huh. So much of our work on the podcast is investigating these concepts and
Yes.
figuring out, okay, well, then what are you rooted in?
Yeah.
If not
Yeah.
people, if not land, if not history, what are you rooted in? And
Mhm.
that's where you get all of these weird, fantastical new age things that often come back to white
White
supremacy.
supremacy. The
And
thing that ruins everything.
ruins
Truly,
everything.
like,
Literally.
we follow breadcrumbs, and that's
Uh-huh.
what it leads to. We've said this so
Mhm.
many times, like, we're not
We're
trying to
not
talk
doing
about
this on
it.
purpose.
We're not trying to talk about it like, I don't wanna talk about it, but that's where it
But it keeps
goes.
coming back here. That was the other thing I told them. I was like, we didn't set out for it to be
No.
this way. It just turned out this way because every time we try to
It's
look into something, we find out that
trickster leads us
mhm.
to
And like
the
what is white supremacy
truth.
but like a lack of empathy. And
Yes.
empathy is about finding
Ugh.
emotionally connecting to another who's different from you
Yeah.
and whose experience is different from you.
Is
And white
different from
supremacy
you.
is all about homogenizing people and making them into
Yeah.
one
Making
culture.
them
And
into one
anything that is
culture.
does not fit within gets exterminated.
Yeah.
Or uh
Yeah.
what's the word I'm looking for? Assimilated. Those are
Assimilated.
your options.
Those are literally,
Assimilation or extermination.
and we're talking about land, that's this country. That's what
Mhm.
happened. There was no empathy for the other. There were political agendas,
Mhm.
and that's how we're here.
Mhm.
So to not recognize that and give that the proper respect that it deserves in your heart
Yeah.
space is troubling for me. And probably many of our listeners who listen to this podcast.
Yeah.
It's
It's weird.
it's weird. Money, things like capitalism, they turn you away from empathy
Mhm.
because it's the game. It's, I get it. I do get it.
It's
But
part
we
of our
have to
survival
find
at this point.
balance
Exactly.
because if we lose our empathy for people and our humanity, like there have been so many movies made about this shit, like, movies about Wall Street and things, and then, oh
Mm.
no, like there's narratives about this. There's like tales, there's art, there's stories, there's plays.
Tale as old as
Tale as old as time. Beauty and the Beast will somehow be about capitalism. I don't know. The Beast was hotter when he was a beast. Fight me. But like,
Sounds like a topic for a bonus episode.
I know. Yeah. But like, that's why art is important too.
That is why
because
art is important.
art, talking to people, like listening, having someone sit and watch a 2-hour play that they may or may not fall asleep in, like that's why art is important, because art teaches you things, can get to you in a music, dance, like performance gets to you in a way and can teach you things and can activate empathy
your
and humanity in a way for people that don't normally listen to other people and need
Yes.
to something to get through to a different layer of their heart and
And their
existence.
psyche. Yes.
That's why it's so important. And to me, that's why I try not to be super angsty pants
Mhm.
towards people, because if I'm angry and I hate somebody, I'm never going to change them.
They're mine. Absolutely.
That's not the tactic that I personally, everyone's different. I never go that route because then I've lost them completely.
Yeah.
So,
And I think a lot of folks, like, especially when there was this first big, like, collective awakening in
yeah.
2020. I think so many people who were newly awakened were leaning into, like, especially like non-black people, like white
Yeah.
folks, like we're leaning into the anger part.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like I saw a lot of it
Yeah.
unfold in like a mom group that I was in. Like
Yeah.
I can say that like I participated in being like angry, like
Yeah.
approaching people from a space of anger. But like you said, nobody's mind gets changed from that.
Unfortunately not.
Unfortunately.
It's like this.
And so now I've kind of taken the stance of like, I'm going to lure you in with how sweet and charming I am. And then once you sit at my
Spider.
table, I'm going to drop a few bombs on you. But they're going
Yes.
to come from my voice in a way that is warm.
Yeah.
I'm going to smile.
Yeah.
And because I'm doing it that way, people are like, oh,
Gee, Caitlin, I wonder
I
what
never thought
this
of it that
is
way.
for.
And I'm like, yeah.
Look at this beautiful
Come back for some
illusion
more.
we've created here. Do you like this prop? Well, you're going to learn about why.
Pick up the phone.
You like this? Have some empathy.
We're like hypnotizing
Look at
people
this
into empathy.
sparkly. Hey, that's what I got
But
to
I'll
do.
do whatever I have to do. Like if that's the approach,
So,
then that's fine.
I have to put on some rouge.
Rouge my knees
I'm
and
gonna
roll my
rouge
stockings
knees
down.
and roll my stockings down.
But
And that jazz. Yes.
we
And
know a
that's
whoopty spot.
where the gin is cold,
And
but the piano's hot. Yes.
I was thinking
we should
if
do a
not
musical
this year,
episode.
next year, and we should have a twin birthday party where we do karaoke and like invite listeners.
Oh my God, can we please?
Yeah, if not this year, maybe next year.
We could probably have it at the PDA space again.
Oh yeah, then we could invite quite a few people
Mm-hmm.
and get set up like a karaoke situation.
Yeah, and the screen could
Yeah.
be, that would be
Oh,
fun.
we'll MC,
Oh,
but also we'll hog the mic and sing a lot.
I really, yeah. We'll be in the rotation. We'll
There's
cap
gonna be a few duets.
we'll cap the rotation with both of us. So look, I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing. It's fine. Anyway, gosh.
But I guess, you know,
Things are,
it's a weird time to be alive and it can be really easy to get hopeless.
yeah. Oh,
But
I was so happy for a minute, and then you said that.
I know, huh? Sorry.
Wah, wah.
um
Just
it
kidding.
is by embracing empathy for humankind that I have to choose,
Yeah,
you know?
you've talked about that a lot, and you've affected me too in that, I just messaged you about something, but I used to say a lot that, I hate people are dumb, and people are dumb, but, like, I don't wanna make that my personality, that I hate everyone and I only love my dogs, and, like, I don't wanna do that, and that's bypassing your fellow man,
Mm.
and I think that leads to not a lack of empathy, but it leads to just bitterness,
Ooh.
and I don't wanna be bitter because bitterness can grow into a lot of negative things. Isolation, hatred, racism, lack of empathy, like, that's like a root,
It's a
and I
seed,
I see a lot
yeah.
of memes about this, I see a lot of and I used to be a person that would say that all the time and just be like, "I'm just, like, done, I'm gonna go live in a cabin in the woods and never talk to anybody again." Yeah, do I wanna do that? Sometimes, but I don't amplify things like that. I don't wanna let that define my personality because
Mm.
a part of what little Laura inside is trying to do is to soften and reduce my boundaries so I can be a loving human being. And I've come a long way, and a part of it is letting go of that tendency to just dislike people by the masses because
Mm.
when people get hurt or face injustice, how would the first thing you turn to be empathy if you're constantly joking or whatever about how much you hate people?
Mm.
I like a sarcastic joke, don't get
Growth.
me wrong, but
Yeah.
that's a part of the emphasis on community that you've taught me and we've talked about a lot. Seriously, you've never been like that. You're like a soft little angel who, like, gives a shit. Truly. No, it's like everyone that listens
My
knows.
Cancer rising.
Yeah, and I've suppressed my cancer placements, and I'm letting it be, and it's like yeah, it's but that's a part of it, though, and a lot of white people do that, have that
Really?
mentality. Yeah. You not notice that? Oh, yeah.
That's like white culture?
Yeah. At least what I've seen with people that, I've know or been around, it's like mostly my white friends think that way. I
I
don't know
learned
why.
something today.
Yeah, it's like we just, ignore it's part of ignoring what's happening and what goes on because you're
Mm.
bypassing it by saying, "Oh, I don't really like people, I don't
Yeah.
care," and then it's just kinda become it's a slippery slope. But yes, that is a part of I would say yes, it
Ah.
is a part of white culture and how we ignore what's going on. What? White people are fun. I'm a white person.
Ah.
Do, do, do,
Okay, that's so
do.
interesting.
No, I'm serious.
Yeah,
That's a thing.
because something that I was talking to those other people about at the coffee shop today,
Yeah.
well, bodega today was um how white supremacy culture, white culture takes away our connection to ancestry and land and um people culture, right? And so
Yeah.
then we lean into these new identities that are defined by the parameters of whiteness, right? And it's like, oh, but that's one of the parameters is like if I just don't like other people, then I don't have to do
Then I'll throw
anything.
myself into other causes that are not
Yeah.
human rights based or
Yeah.
human centric based. And that's
Yeah.
fine. People trees need to be saved, like the environment,
Yeah.
things, but it can be extreme.
But we gotta, yeah.
We love our pets, we love animals, but we don't need to hate people. The
But
2 can exist. You
that
can
one
love animals.
organization's real wild. I'm not gonna name them, but you can drive by them on
Yeah,
Sunset
like that
Boulevard.
kind of thing
It's
happens
weird.
in white culture where it's like, "Oh, we'll just go hard on
Yeah.
something that we can fully control,
Yeah.
and,
Going hard
look what a
on
good person I
yeah.
am." but then the other part is really imbalanced. I think it becomes
Yeah.
imbalanced in some
Yeah.
white people, and it's in people, but I'm white, so I'm speaking from my experience. It's okay. But that's sort of what I see white people in groups caring about, not other people, but other things
Things.
that need attention. But that's why you
But
can't
at the
really
root
say
is like,
anything
okay,
because it's
if you mistreat animals, like that really comes back to like mistreatment of living beings, which
yeah.
comes back to like humans.
Yeah.
Like it
It's all
really all comes back
connected.
to,
The earth
yeah, how
too.
you feel about other people.
Gotta be
Oh,
yeah, you're welcome.
wow.
It's a balance, but
Fascinating.
but like anything else, it can be toxic and extreme, and there are like
Comes a cult.
pipelines and Mario's going down doo 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 doo
Do.
racism doo 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 like
Burr,
things
burr, burr,
like I'm voting for Trump now. Woo! It's like whoa. Doo 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 doo
Literally.
doo 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 doo. Like we're in the like it's
Uh-huh.
weird. Like you just get sucked into another level. It's scary. That's why we're like discernment.
All day. Every
But
day.
like my friend Juliet Diaz says, like, your humanity is like, you can't let that be ignored. Like the
Mhm.
feelings that you're feeling, like of anger or whatever, like that's your humanity and that's empathy. And like you can't ignore that.
It's your compass.
Yeah. And it's pretty inspiring to
Mhm.
think about that. And because we only live like YOLO, we're only here. Don't you want to
In this
be
body
authentic?
one time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be a bug hopefully in the next one.
I want
But
to be a bodega cat in my
mm,
next life.
that's great. I like that.
Lounging in the hot Cheetos.
You only live once. Why not live
Well.
authentically to yourself and do what you can
Yes.
to help other people? Um, yeah.
Because the truth is, like, any one of us could be in a situation where we need help.
Yeah.
And I would rather choose to act in a way, I don't know, that's like kind to other humans,
Yeah.
helpful to other humans.
Yeah. I mean, that's why it's important to just make friends that don't look like you and expose yourself to other people's
Mhm.
cultures in a not appropriative way.
Yeah.
And
Like, don't be creepy.
you don't need to take it, just observe. You don't need to take it. You don't need to make it your
Yeah.
personality. Just that's a white thing
Yeah.
too. We know. We like to
Um,
I'm gonna put on that costume. Like, no, we
when
don't
I
need to do
was
that.
when I was like researching empathy and like the word origin and all of
Oh,
that, like
let's
something
talk
that
about
came up
that.
on psychology today was that like you grow empathy by being exposed to people who are different from you.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
like I don't know. I grew up with lots of people who were different from me.
Me too. That's probably why
Why
we're
we're not
not
horrible
horrible
people.
people. Truly.
Yeah.
And yeah, it really it's I guess it would be hard if you live in like a real white place.
Like a small town.
You got to do some extra homework if
You
you don't end up in
do.
a high school where you're the
Thank
minority.
God for Los
Yeah, like live in a melting pot. Like that's why these cities and community
Angeles.
like areas are so important. The diverse spaces are like I don't want to be anywhere
I don't want to be
else.
anywhere else.
Yeah, it's weird. It's a lot going to little towns where there is like
It freaks me out.
it's really this yeah, it's really really scary. Even for
It
me it was
is.
scary.
Yes.
As a white person I was scared.
Okay, so
That's not
I used to
that's scary.
be an apparel rep. For those of you who don't know, I was like a wholesale rep for the West Coast. So I would travel all over the West Coast selling my wares
Ah,
to different stores. And the first year that I did it, I like planned my entire California trip. And like I'm a light skinned bitch. Like, let's be real. Like, there's very clear European ancestry in this Latina shell. Like, I do have like indigenous and African ancestry,
yeah.
but like I know what I look like,
Yeah.
right? And it wasn't until like I got to Northern California that I was like, oh, like I like this is what small town feels like.
Oh,
This is weird. Like when I was in
yeah.
Colfax,
Oh,
I had never heard of Colfax before, first of all. But I'm like, I get out to do my appointment, and the like store owner looks me up and down, and she was like, "You better not stay here long." And I was like, "Oh
yeah, they'll say things like that
I
to
will drive to
people of
Sacramento
color.
now.
Oh, yeah, you get told, like,
I'm
"What are you
getting
doing
the
here?"
fork out
Not
of
me, but
here.
yeah.
Like, thank you, ma'am. I'm out.
Yeah, no one's ever told me that. Ever.
Better not stay here long. I was
Ever.
like, and I think she was trying to be helpful, but it was
Well, yeah, but it's
scary.
still like, that's not a good thing to
It's
hear.
like, oh,
Yeah, it's so unfair.
mom,
Crap.
get me. But
Yeah.
yeah, like I could see if you're in that environment, like how do you change? But you have to want to.
You have to
But also we have the internet now, so like,
you're raised like that too. It is it is more difficult to
yeah.
change, but yeah, then it's like, is empathy learned or is it conditioned? I think it's conditioned and but it's not, I think it's inside of us.
Yeah.
But that's why like art, the the patience that I have with people,
Hmm.
because that's how you get like you're not going to get through to someone that was raised like that and is like conditioned like, and I have family members who are like that, and I have to cut ties because you'll know when it's just never gonna
Yeah.
happen for people, and then it's like, well, rather than tell you I hate you and add to your
Hmm.
hatred of whoever, like I'm just gonna let you go away
Hmm.
and do what you will
Yeah.
because it's just,
Yeah.
and that does happen. Um, but some people you can get through to. And yeah, it's
Try our
just,
best.
yeah, it it's hard. But I've said this before, like I do believe as a white person that's a responsibility that I have to talk to other white people because it's sure as heck not people of color's responsibility to educate
Yeah.
other white people. And that's why we got to take that on because we are safe
Mhm.
most everywhere. And we have privilege to like do that. And why not? Like
Yeah.
that's part of it for me. I do
That's
believe
like
that.
empathy in action.
Yeah. It's important because white people will listen to other white people a lot of the time before they'll listen to someone else that they may hate because of a stupid reason.
Yeah.
That's just facts. So, or they have a bias against, it's just,
Yes.
it's scary, but yeah.
It's a wild world.
Oh, baby, baby, it's
It's
a
a
wild
wild.
world.
Oh.
Man, well, do we have any questions for today?
Probably.
Do we have questions of our very long hiatus? We haven't recorded in since
Long
September?
time.
July? No, August? What's before that? August?
I think our last episode came out like on Halloween,
Oh, that's right. So we must have stopped in
and then we
early August. No,
stopped because I think
September.
I started feeling depressed. And I was like, "I can't show up," and then
Oh,
you're
I
like,
started
"Oh,
feel
I'm
I was
depressed too. I can't do
yeah.
this either."
No, we took an extra long break.
We did. And then my kids were home from school for 3 weeks, which was great, but also, like, I can't
Yeah,
do anything except make snacks every 15 minutes.
right. Ooh, that's nice. I wanna come over and get
You
some
should come over.
snacks.
There's hella snacks during Christmas
That's
break,
nice.
winter break. Okay, let's see. Okay, I like this question. When you lose a loved one, how long do you give until calling on them?
Mm.
So I'm going to share my that's my opinion for my Bravo lovers. My opinion based on it's a clip from Real Housewives of OC reunion.
Got it.
um, but in Espiritismo, per tradition, after someone passes, we, when they're ready, offer them a ceremony called ancestral elevation. It's a rite of passage, and it helps our deceased loved ones move away from their earthly experience and into whatever the afterlife has in store for them. Uh, if you want to do an ancestral elevation, you can find a link to the guide for it or freezies on my like link in bio on my Instagram. Um, but once we complete elevation, tradition says 1 year and 1 day,
Hmm.
and then you connect with them because people need time to like process like a
Yeah.
lifetime of existence
Yeah.
and deal
That
with their
makes sense.
shit. Yeah. The dead need a chance to rest before you can start, in my opinion, reaching out to them. And I've definitely seen plenty of docu-series where people are just constantly reaching out to the recently deceased. There's one on Netflix called Between Worlds, something like that. It came
Hmm.
out during like early in the pandemic. But there's this guy on the show who is like constantly going to mediums to try to connect to his dead dad. But he's also like a
Oh, I
skeptic.
saw that one. Yeah, that was a
Remember
good one.
him?
Yeah.
Like he didn't
Yeah.
believe anybody, but he
No.
couldn't stop the
Yeah.
compulsion to go to mediums.
Yeah.
I remember this one medium channeled the dad, and it was like distressing. It's like,
Yeah.
let that dead man rest. Like
Yeah.
he is tired.
He's
He's
tired.
tired. These mediums are tired. So
Man.
I
Yeah.
do think it's important to give your dearly departed prayers for their elevation, for them to be able to process what's happened to them, what's happened in
Mhm.
their lifetime. Give them time to rest before reaching out to them.
Yeah. That's great. I like that.
It's a good question.
I
Oh,
like
this
that
one's good
answer.
for you.
Oh, is it?
Advice on safely watching dark horror themed shows as a sensitive person, if that's even possible.
I Okay. Well, you have to be in the mood. You have to be in the right headspace 'cause I used to not be able to watch things like that, and now I don't care. Um, I think if you don't wanna watch it, you just don't
Yeah, just like,
watch
don't
it.
force yourself.
Don't force yourself to watch it, but if you wanna watch it, maybe start out slow with, like, a grim moment to show,
Mhm.
like, a very, like, PG, maybe even a Once Upon a Time.
That's a fun
Okay,
one.
like, just keep it, like, light. Like, or if you're like, "Ooh, I wanna watch a sexy show," you can watch, like, Outlander, which is, like, softcore, or you can watch, like, Mayfair Witches is pretty there's, like, a hot ghost that haunts the family that they have sex with.
Oh.
It's a whole thing. Um, yeah, maybe dabble in, like, different like, you don't gotta watch, like, Insidious or whatever, like, right
Yeah.
off the bat, like, sometimes I don't really like horror.
Yeah.
I'm very specific about my horror intake.
Yeah.
I think it's just finding the type of genre, like, watch Buffy, like, I'm really into the X-Files right
Love
now.
Buffy.
X-Files is, like, my sweet spot right now.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, sometimes it's either X-Files or Friends. X-Files or Friends, that's what I'm,
Mhm.
like, oscillating between because I
I
need
feel like
2
it's good to
options.
follow it up with
Yeah,
some sort
and
of
to follow it up
sitcom.
with, like, if you get a little scared, like, don't
Yeah.
watch it at night, watch it during the
Yeah.
day, and,
Then watch an
yes.
episode of like Abbott Elementary
Yeah, right,
afterwards to
like,
cleanse yourself.
something, like, you can go between, a palate
Balance.
cleanser, if you will.
Yeah, a palate
Just watch
cleanser.
one episode, or if it's
Yeah.
a movie, you can watch half the movie, and then if it gets dark and you're feeling uncomfortable, like, don't
Turn it
finish
off.
it.
Yeah, I agree.
Or if you're talking about, like, true paranormal ghost shows where, like, they may be talking about Satan or, like, like, things that might be triggering
Mhm.
to you, like, don't watch them if you feel like it's gonna conjure up something for yourself,
Yeah.
because that can happen. I
Yeah.
listen to a lot of paranormal podcasts where, like, people have said, like, "I listened to your podcast and, like, weird shit started happening in my house." Like, hearing other people's I listen to a lot and that hasn't happened to me, but it's
Mhm.
'cause I think it's also just knowing that you're protected.
Mhm.
Like, just know and feel confident
Mhm.
and that you're protected and you are, you know? Say it so and it will
Mhm.
be. Like, it's just sort of if
Yeah.
it's that level of, like, I'm very
Mhm.
sensitive, like, just and just don't do it if you don't
Yeah.
feel good
Honor
about
your
it.
boundaries. I think
Yeah,
it's the most important thing. Like I started watching what's the good ghost hunting show that you like?
kindred spirit
There's another one too.
one.
Oh no, Sarita was the one who told me about it. The
Oh,
Dead
what
Files.
Oh, Dead File, no, I told you about that, yeah.
Yes. Okay,
Love Dead
so I
Files.
watched a couple episodes and then I got to this one episode where she
Yeah.
was describing a specific
Yeah.
spirit, and I was
Uh-huh.
like, "Oh no, I can't watch this
Yeah.
anymore."
'Cause
But
you're
thank you
since
for your
yeah.
time.
Yeah, like, she gets very
This
detailed.
was fun. I believe her. I
Yeah.
gotta opt out.
Yes, that one affects me
I'm gonna
too.
watch Dairy Girls again.
Yeah. Dead Files is the most
She's
descript.
legit.
No, she just left the show. Yeah, now it's another psychic person. But she did because her mental health and her like, she was like, "I can't
bet.
do this anymore."
I bet. Oh, I bet.
And I don't blame her.
I don't blame her.
And I respect that decision, and we
Mhm.
like
Strong
Amy.
boundaries. Yeah, we like Amy.
We love Amy.
Yeah.
She's very I mean, her descriptions are so, like and the drawings and stuff. I love that
It's
show.
wild. It's
I
a good
love that
time.
show.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I have to like I realized, oh, even though I enjoy this, I now have to limit my intake because I
Yeah.
got to a boundary and I
Yeah.
was like, I could keep watching this and like fuck up my life.
Yeah.
Or at the very least fuck up my like dreams. Or I can just walk away and watch
Yeah.
like That Darn Cat on
That
the
Darn
Criterion
Cat.
channel.
Oh my god. Yeah. Fiction and reality makes a difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Good answer.
Wow.
Thank
Good
you.
episode.
Yeah, thank
Good
you.
first episode
Mhm.
back. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for listening to Third Eye Bind.
Be sure to leave us a message on the Third Eye Line.
That can mean you can email us a voice memo. If you'd like your voice to
yeah.
be played on the pod, you
Send
can
us a voice memo.
yes, record it on your phone, send it to thirdeyebindpod@gmail.com.
Yes. Or you can log on to our website, fill out the form, send us your question that way.
Yes.
But don't spam us through the form.
Don't spam. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for listening. You can follow the podcast at Third Eye Bind Pod on Instagram. There, submit your questions via the Third Eye line by sending us a voice message or text DM. The show is available wherever you listen to podcasts and for you to watch on YouTube. Get early access to episodes and even monthly one-on-one sessions with us by joining our Patreon. Find us at patreon.com/thirdeyebind. Third Eye Bind is produced and edited by Mike Realm. Hosted by Caitlin Grania and Laura Wong. Music by Mike Realm. Set design by Laura Wong. You can find Laura on Instagram at Lady Moon Co. And you can find Caitlin at caitlin.grania.